Welcome to The Old World Lives, a Warhammer Fantasy Battles podcast. You can find us on Facebook at The Old World Lives, on Instagram at The Old World Lives, and you can reach us by email at theoldworldlives@gmail.com. And now, on to the episode. Hello and welcome to the 6th episode of The Old World Lives, a Warhammer Fantasy podcast. And I'm Christopher, and with me tonight I have Jimmy.
Hello.
And Niklas.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk a bit about army list and list building in Warhammer 6th edition. This is a follow-up from the last episode, so if you listened to that one, you probably should be interested in how to build a list. It's not complicated. I'm going to go through it and talk a bit about it. So I'm going to start off with Jimmy. What's your hobby progress?
Yes, I've been working a bit more on my witch hunters, so to speak, and they're 50% done. So haven't been doing anything else than painting those guys.
Well, still fair enough.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm gonna do my hobby progress because I've been working on my rat ogre that's been previewed on Instagram, and I'm currently working on the base. For some reason, that's the most fun part for me.
Yeah, you always do very elaborate bases for your miniatures.
Yeah, and then I semi-paint the mini on top of them so the base looks ace and the mini is okay-ish. But then painting it up so it looks like marble, the white regular stone marble, and there's going to be some corruption going through it, like there's been some warpstone infection in it, like it's been corrupted. So let's hope it works out.
Sounds amazing.
Nice.
Niklas, how about the progress of your horses then?
Yeah, I've been painting lots. Straight after the last episode, I finished my crosshairs. Posted some pictures on Instagram so you can see that. And then I'm aiming to finish my 1,000-point list for my Kislev, which I went through in episode 4.5. And yeah, so I've been working on that. So I painted 16 horses in one go. Because you might as well. Just painting 8 is a bit waste of time. Because like it's not that hard painting horses, so I decided to paint 16 of them. And now I just finished painting 8 of the riders as well. So I'm done with 1 unit of winged lancers, which I will be posting on our Instagram as well. It will probably be out when we release this episode.
Definitely. And they look really good because you're going for a kind of different color scheme to your Griffin Legion, but they will still match, I think.
Yeah. So I wanted to just make them stand out from the Griffin Legion because the Griffin Legion is very red. I was kind of thinking of making these guys with red as well, but I think that they would look too similar. So I wanted to make them stand out from them in the battlefield. And also I wanted to incorporate some blue because blue is like one of the main colors of Kislev originally. So I went more with blue, like on the banner and the shields, and turned out like it made them very blue, but I think it still works good. And then their clothes are still red though, just to tie them in with the red of the rest of the army. And like on the armor parts, I just went for more metal than color because the Griffin Legion have like some of the armor panels are red, but I want to just go with a metal on these guys to just make them look more like traditional medieval knights. And I think it worked out well.
They sure will look great on the battlefield, if nothing else. And that's all that matters, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, those wings are awesome. It's going to be great to see them all lined up.
Yeah, and these are the ones you're bringing to that event in London next year, right?
Yeah, definitely. Bringing my Kislev. So that's going to be 1,500 points. I'm going to have to finish basically all of my stuff by then. Yeah. Oh, and then, by the way, that event, so there were some guys on the reserve list, but now they extended. The organizer went to the place where it's going to be, and they figure out a way to fit some more tables. So now they extended it so that the guys that were on the waiting lists can also play. So now it's currently 24 out of 24 players. That's awesome.
Where can people go if they want to go on the waiting list or just check out the event?
The event is called Bringing Back 6th Edition. I think Bringing Back 6th Edition Warhammer Fantasy, even maybe. I don't know. It should be posted on the Warhammer Fantasy Battles page, or maybe Warhammer 6th Edition Fantasy Battle. Or if they're interested and you're listening to this, then just write us a message if you can't find it, and I'll send you a link.
That sounds good. Well, maybe we can even work in a link somewhere along the way if there's more slots opening up or anything.
Yeah, or just get on the waiting list. I mean, people always drop out from events. I've hosted events for 30K, and there's always a last minute dropout. And then especially now it's pretty far away, so things can change in the meantime. So like if you're interested and you hear that, yeah, it's full, I'm not gonna get in, just sign up and I bet you will get in. I think he even said that there's like an extra room as well if there's like demand for it.
Yeah, and that's probably the most important thing here. If there's demand, there probably will be ways to make it work in the end.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this event though. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we need an event like that in Sweden as well, I think.
Yeah, I've been talking about that. We should try and get something together. Like we can do it super small. Because if it's just us going somewhere and playing, then like that's good enough for me. And if people want to join us, then all the better.
Indeed. Or if the interest is there, why not make an event? So we'll see. We can always have both, I think.
Yeah.
So there are actually some news this week, because this will be up before the weekend, if we can get all of it recorded. And it starts off with a few made-to-order items. And any one of you want to run through the list, or should I?
I think you have it in front of you, so you can go ahead.
First up, there's two classic heroes of the Beastmen, Khazrak One Eye and Morgur. What do you guys think of these minis?
Morgur is one of my most favorite Beastman miniatures. I love that model.
Is he the guy that's kind of springing out of the ground?
Yeah, and
Doing
creating chaos everywhere.
It's like leaning forward, like a Michael Jackson move.
like he's lunging forward. I think his whole special rules was that he could make people chaos bombs. I think he had some spells or special rules.
Isn't he the one in the fluff that turns people into beastmen as well?
Yeah.
With that, not a good kind of beastman, just beastman.
Yeah.
Well, you're half cow now, but not like in a good way.
Now you're half a fish. On the wrong end, so you're a land mermaid.
Awesome.
Or just a pair of legs with a guppy head.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Then the other one is also really nice classic model with a nice little whippy thing on the top.
Yeah, isn't he like the nemesis of the Boris Todbringer, I think? The Electro Count of Midland.
Yeah, I think so, but it's been a long time since I read the Beastman.
I think they took each other's eyes, as both of them have eye patches. Eye for an eye, so to say.
Yeah, that sure makes sense.
And then we have like something that I found very cool. Trog, the Troll King. I've been looking into him earlier, and I think I might get him just in case I ever wanted to do a full troll army for 8th edition.
Yeah, and using him for not not just a troll army. Him leading a monster army of any kind in chaos is amazing. And I love that
Yeah.
he has a little crown on one of his tusks. He truly is the
Yeah.
troll king.
He's really ugly in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
He's
we
got
have,
like a mouth on his ribs or something.
Yeah, and his
Crazy.
thighs.
yeah, because that makes sense.
Chaos.
Yeah.
He does have nipples though. Not many models have nipples.
Unless they're blood angels.
True, true.
Yeah.
Speaking
we
of
have-
which, then we got Galrog, the Chaos Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also love this model. I have fond
Classic.
memories of it, but it doesn't stick well together. The old pewter model. It just really had to be pinned. It's a bitch to build this. God, I hate it.
Yeah.
I'm
It's-
glad I sold mine.
It's one
if
of
we
those
were on
models
that.
one of these models that would actually really benefit from a pin going through the entire model,
Yeah,
just to make it to stick together.
I think this will be in fine cast, so it's gonna stick together.
And you won't notice if the detail is missing or not, because it's
Yeah.
chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah. The final one, close to, I guess, both of your guys' heart.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really tempted by this one. Do you have him, Jimmy?
I don't.
Oh, I really love that he's just riding a giant rat.
Yeah. This is the Plague Lord Nurglich himself, the founder of the clan Pestilence.
A rat with a really, really lovely soul patch.
So he must be like very like going back pretty far in the fluff, right?
Yeah, I
Online.
think they made him for the Lustra campaign.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because like the one was that like in the imperial calendar, so we're at like 2,500 something, the current date.
I can't remember when it was, but I do remember when they released him, they did mention it was a historical character, so to say.
Yeah, it fits well now after they released the skink guys who were also fighting in that war.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that's also when around the same time, they released the zombie pirates. It's also quite cool.
Yeah, it's awesome that they're bringing out these old models.
Yeah, I can't
haven't-
wait to see more.
I haven't got any yet though. Gotta get
Something
something.
tells me there's a market for them still.
Yeah.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
are gorgeous models, and
Truly
people
is.
go, "Ooh, I never got that one the first time it was available. I might as well buy it now."
Yeah.
Like with dragons and stuff, you know.
Yeah. Did you get any?
The official answer is still maybe, because I can't really say anything in case someone's listening.
If you say yes, that means that you're gonna paint it up, and then we're gonna be on your ass about painting it.
Well, that means that you just have to face 3 dragons.
I'm up for it. Fleeing goblins everywhere.
In 6th edition.
Yeah.
But it would just be lovely that you have one that breathes fire, one that breathes toxic smoke, and one that breathes acid. So that's perfect.
Yeah, it's awesome news from the community page.
I think it's this Saturday, so it should be the 6th.
All right, awesome.
Since this post went up on the 30th of September.
And some other nice things to show. It's not related to Warhammer Fantasy. This is the Age of Sigmar Warhammer Underworlds, but there is an amazing Night Goblin warband. Well, excuse me, Moon Clan Grot warband. Night Goblin warband. Night Goblin warband, yeah.
Night Goblin warband.
And I'm gonna use the shaman in this box for my Night Goblin army. I fell in love with this model instantly when I saw it. Gosh, it's it's amazing. He even have a fairy captured in his cage, which looks like Navi from The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
So it's basically
Hey, listen.
So it's basically using a fairy light to light his way.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's awesome.
I need it. I will
And,
probably change the fairy thing into something else and use the fairy for a lantern in Mordheim or something. So he's gonna
Yeah,
hold a
that's
bucket of
really
shrooms
good.
or something.
Or a small snotling. We'll see what happens,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we will see.
And then
Anything is possible.
yeah, and they are also releasing a Xinjiang warband, where the models
Yeah.
could probably be used if you just rebase them, if you want to use them for Warhammer Fantasy,
Yeah.
just square bases,
Yeah.
and paint them with your
The
army.
yeah, the sorcerer would work excellent for a singed sorcerer or an exalted hero.
Mm-hmm. He is not that far from the description of the shaman in Riders of the Dead, so
That's true.
except that they still got hands.
Yeah.
And yeah, and there's also, if anyone's interested, they're releasing some warhounds, but the wrong kind of hounds in the fantasy sense of matter.
Yeah.
Oh well, maybe we should move on to the main topic tonight, and that is army lists in 6th edition.
Yeah.
And should we just go through quickly what's the easiest way to just make one these days?
Yeah.
And
Just look in the rule book to see the rules for building an army, or it's in every army book as well, right?
yeah, it's in the army, usually in the army creation section or the army list section. There's all
Just
of the-
before all the entries.
Yeah.
So in this edition, it's like unit based how many units you can take, but as usually in fantasy, it scales up. So depending on how many points you're playing, you can take different amounts of different units. I was like a bit confused by this in the beginning because I was moving from reading 8th edition rules. And in 8th edition, everything is based on percentages, so scales with every point. So you have up to like 50% lords and heroes, and at least 25% troops, and up to 50% special. But in 6th edition, you have number of units depending on how many points you play.
Yeah, and given that most of the examples we have done currently and will be doing are less than 2,000 points, that means that you have to have 2+ core units, 0 to 3 special units, and 0 to 1 rare units for these limitations.
And 0 to 3 heroes, and no lords.
Yeah, well, you have to take one hero.
Oh yeah, 1 to 3 heroes and no lords. So you can't take lords until you play 2,000 points or higher in 6th edition.
Unless you play Border Princess campaign.
Yeah, but in the standard rule set.
In the standard, yeah.
Don't confuse people now.
I will always confuse people. This is how I win my games. I confuse the shit out of everyone.
Yeah, so you like go to a 1,500 point game and then like, hey Jimmy, are you bringing a lord? Like, yeah, but I thought you can't bring a lord. Yeah, well, you can in a border prince.
In my Skaven book, it says I can cheat. So I think it's actually hidden somewhere that they want you to cheat as long as your opponent can't notice it. It's in the clinician section. You gotta be sneaky about it.
I just thought that was all games.
Christopher, could you read like 2,000 points and above? How many units you can have just to see how it scales? If you have it in front of you.
If you have 2,000 points or more, it's 3+, 0 to 4 special, and 0 to 2 rare. And then they're just basically adding 1 every time after that. And because basically says each plus 1,000 points is +1 minimum for core, and plus 0 to 1 plus 0 to 1 for special and rare, respectively.
And then you can start taking lords, so you can have 1 lord and then you can still have 3 heroes to a maximum of
You can
4
have
characters.
4 heroes in 2,000 points.
Yeah, and then
Yep.
you can have 6 heroes in 3,000 points
Yeah.
and 8 heroes and in 4,000 points. But the
there's
lords are still
still
just +1 all of the time.
but there's still a max total of characters though. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, characters are not that important, I would say, in 6th edition. As they are in 5th edition, they're very important because it's Hero Hammer.
Yeah.
And I think I would say that they're more important in 8th edition as well.
Yeah,
'cause the Battle
yeah.
Standard Bearer is more important, and mages
Yeah.
are more important.
Yeah. And most heroes can also be like killing machines in 8th edition. There's so many good magic items and so many good hero choices and lord choices.
Yeah.
Mhm. You should also be mindful that there are, if you just want to bring a 1,000-point list, and you're just going to bring one hero, make sure that hero can actually be the army general, because
Yeah.
not all characters can, because there's limitations over that as well. Also, some special and rare unit entries have a 0-1 limit as well. It's not just take whatever you want just because you have the slots.
And some entries, like Black Orc heroes, take up extra slots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also true if you put a hero on
Chariot.
or a dragon. Yeah. A chariot usually takes up the special slot, whatever slot that the chariot is
Yeah.
in. And a dragon takes up a lord on a dragon takes up the lord plus an extra hero slot for the dragon.
Yeah. Some characters take up extra slots as well. Just like name characters who take up extra slots because they're so powerful.
They're just so badass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
but that's
Bela Core takes up like a lord and a hero.
yeah, and that's a good thing because that makes them at least easier to balance in the way that you can't just take a badass general and then just add a load of sorcerers as well.
Yeah. All right. So should we start going through our list that we have prepared?
Yes.
So I think we're gonna start with the list I made. I read out my list in our 4.5 episode, but I've been tasked to make another list because we
Well, we
got a
should probably
mail.
have mentioned that we got a listen email from a passionate fan of the podcast,
Oh yeah.
or a
Yeah.
paid co-host of another podcast. I'm not sure what it is in this case.
Yeah. So Morten, the guy that I am making my 30K podcast with, that we said happy birthday to last episode, wrote us in. I will read it out here.
Yeah, please do.
Hail to you, glorious guardians of ye olden world. Long-time listener, first-time writer inner Morten here. Thank you for the congratulations on my birthday. I am, however, getting concerned that there is a secret conspiracy to try to get me into fantasy and not only play 30K. I can tell you right now, Morten, it's not a secret conspiracy. It's just a plain
it's
casual conspiracy. Anyway, I've told Niklas of my ideas of having a small band of mercenaries, but I know nothing about how to play fantasy. On the last show, you talked about me basing an army around the Dogs of War. What does that mean? Is it a separate list? A mini list like Kislev? A way of taking allies or say the Empire? I am very confused and would be happy to hear you guys explaining it to a simple peasant. Keep up the good work and try to avoid the beastmen on your way to work. I had to take a detour yesterday because of some minotaurs who were howling their mating calls, and I am not ready for that kind of commitment. Cheers, Morten.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. So
Thank you very much for writing in.
Yeah.
As Niklas said, he's been working on a little list just to, well, possibly just to lure Morten in, or possibly to demonstrate how to write a list for Dogs of War.
Yeah. So we can start by talking a bit about Dogs of War. It's a very unique book in the setting. Yes, it was like a half army, kind of like Kislev. I guess you could kind of say it's like not one of the big factions. You have all the big factions, and you can have these two. Like, you have Kislev, which is like an allied book, good races, And then you have Dogs of War, which is also a bit special because you can include Dogs of War into every other army except for Bretonnia, because they're too chivalrous for that kind of thing.
Yeah, the two stuck up in the ways.
But they do have their own book, and 6th edition was the last edition where they had their own book, just like Kislev.
Yeah, they also removed the entire Lords of War Regiments of Renown for the next edition of the game. So
Yeah. In other armies, you can take a Dogs of War unit as a rare choice, but you can also just build an entire Dogs of War army. So, first of all, Dogs of War, they're not a country or a faction as such in the old world. They're just mercenaries from everywhere, and most of them are human. And most of them are from Estalia and Tilia, and those are like Spain and Italy of the old world. And there's lots of mercenaries there, but that doesn't mean all of them are from there. Just that's where a lot of mercenaries hang out.
it's there, and there's some. Just to give a bit of background, there's some pirate ports, and there's a whole lot of them in the Border Princes because no one really controls that area. So mercenaries are just doing the best business they can, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also a great way to make a Marienburg army too, as they are mercenaries. Big coin commons.
Yeah, I mean there are mercenaries everywhere, and
Yeah.
I mean the Empire book in 6th edition as well. They have like the gold militia box says that, oh yeah, these can be these guys running up from the city, or they're mercenaries. And it even said like the crossbow arm guys are most often Tilians because they don't really have their own crossbow guys. So they can be anywhere. I mean, people always want to fight for money, both in like medieval times and forward, and also in fantasy. So it's just guys hungry for money, they want to fight. So they can be from anywhere. And this book, it's kind of divided into 2 sections. So first you have like a regular army list of just generic mercenaries. So you have your heroes and your core and your special, and then they can be kind of whatever. And then you also have the other book side of the book, which is Regiments of Renown, which is like the classic Dogs of War. And you can kind of say that they're named characters with a unit that can be taken either in a Dogs of War army or just for any other army.
Could put an example here, and that's are the Mengel Manhides Manflayers that I've been working on, because they are a regiment of renown that favors working for the Dark Elves.
Yeah. Some other famous ones are the Birdmen of what are they called?
Miranglio, something like that.
Meragliano. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have the Bearmen of what's his face?
Bearstruck.
Yeah. The Galloper gun that I was looking at. It's also a regiment of renown.
And let's not forget the most iconic Slayer pirates, long drawn Slayer pirates. They're so amazing. They got pistols, got them everywhere, hiding in their pants, in their beards.
Literally,
So cool. Yeah,
because that's the rule.
Yeah.
They have pistols, lots and lots of pistols. That's in the rules.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And there's also, speaking of dwarves, there's a little Slayer character unit as well in there, and that is Malachi Mackyson's Goblin Hewer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was a Dogs of War unit.
Yeah.
For dwarves.
Yeah, it was released after the book, so they
Yeah.
included that. This is the same with the Griffin Legion for Kislev.
Yeah.
It's also a Dogs of War unit.
Yeah, and it's in the Storm of Chaos book that it's both for dwarves and for the Slayer cult list, which is quite nice.
Yeah. So you have great, just like named regiments in there that you can take for your army. But back to the standard list. So you have like a standard list, which is just generic humans, kind of mercenaries, that you can build anywhere. I think like Morten was talking about, because he's been getting most of his information from Total War. where they've kind of made border princes into a faction, which is kind of simplifying it a bit.
Yeah, there's more than one factions in the Border Princes, but
Yeah, it would be really hard to make that into a Total War
and
faction.
in the Total War, it's basically just a modified Empire list as well.
Yeah.
So I think the Dogs of War book and the list that you are going to present is more interesting than the list in Total War.
Yeah, it's a bit more different. They have lots of cool choices that the Empire don't have. But yeah, as I said, I don't know if he would be interested in just making a random like Border Prince guy who's fighting for his kingdom or whatever. You can make up pretty much any story for this.
I can say right now that there is a Slaaneshi cult based in the Border Princes if he's interested in that.
Yeah. I recommended him reading Brunner, which is I think great for getting some inspiration for it.
There is also a really, really strict and professional Sigmar army in the Border Princes, which could possibly be a bit Romanesque in its layout. I'm not trying to link this to certain armies he's playing in other games, I promise.
All right. So rules for the Dogs of War. They have some special rules that make them unique from the Empire. They have a general as usual, but then they also always have a paymaster. And the paymaster is the guy carrying the key to the safe with all the money that's going to pay all the soldiers. So they want to keep him alive. So he counts as a battle standard. And they don't have they can't take a battle standard because kind of unregimented. So this is like the army's battle standard, and they always have to take him. So he's like an extra character for your army. And then they can take a bunch of different stuff. They can take wizard hirelings, captains. They can have different kind of mounts, flying mounts as well. And in the core, they have like pikemen, crossbowmen, duelists, which are just
scum.
Yeah, pretty much. Just guys that they rounded up at some bar. Like, hey, do you want to fight for money? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, give me something and I will fight.
Yeah, I got a rock and a little knife. I can fight. No problem.
I can break my bottle and stab people in the tummy.
Yeah, they're pretty good though. They have weapon skill
they
4
are.
and initiative 4, and can take a lot of good weapons.
Well, they have to be good.
Pistols and throwing knives.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Then they have a heavy cavalry. They can kind of very modular. Light cavalry also modular, and then in special they have ogres, which is awesome, which cause fear, which is great. Then they have the paymaster's bodyguard, which is like the elite infantry of the army.
Yeah.
Guys with halberds. Yeah.
They can take Norsens, like Viking bodyguard, like the Varangian guard or something, which is pretty cool. And they can also take dwarves.
Yeah.
With crossbows or axes or whatever they want. And they can also take halflings, which is pretty cool. If you have some old halfling models, that's nice. Or if you get them from somewhere. And in rare, they have cannons and halfling hotpots, which is like the slingshot that shoots food.
Yeah, it shoots soup. It's like a stone thrower that shoots soup.
Yeah.
To be fair, scalding soup would probably be quite horrible to get.
Yeah, but it's a waste of food.
Strength 3, no armor save allowed. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, the food the halflings eat are really palatable by humans anyway.
Yeah.
I just want to say as well that the cannon is the smaller cannon, because there are two different kinds of cannons.
Yeah.
The Empire have the great cannon, and these guys have the smaller cannon.
They have the same one as the dwarves have.
Yeah, still pretty good. All right, so for the example army that I have made for Morten, which is 1,000 points, you have the Paymaster, of course, because you gotta have the Paymaster. He's got a brace of pistols, which is 2 pistols, and he's also got light armor. So 2 pistols is really great because you get to stand and shoot with them always. So that's 2 strength 4 shots with armor piercing to anyone who's coming in. which should kill someone, which is always great. And in close combat, if you have 1 pistol, you get an extra attack and like access to your regular attacks, which is strength 4 armor piercing in close combat. So that's great. And if you have 2 pistols, then all of your attacks become strength 4 armor piercing. So this guy is strength 4 base anyway, but armor piercing is still really good. This is for the first round of combat. So I think he's got 2 attacks base, so that's 3 with 2 pistols. So that's really nice in close combat. And also he gets to stand and shoot, so he can really kill some stuff. Other than that, the general will be a level 2 wizard. So I was thinking it'd just be fun with a wizard in your army, because magic is really fun in 6th edition. And this is going to be the general, so this kind of sets the theme for the army. You can choose any of the 8 lores in the regular book. So depending on what lore you choose, you can model them in whatever way, and that's going to be like the background for your army, because he's going to be the one who can hire this army to do his bidding. So is he going to be a good wizard? It's going to be a bad wizard? Is he like a lore of heaven guy that saw these signs in the sky that he needs to go to this place and save the world or something, and now he needs to just get a mercenary army to get there? Or is he like a lore metal guy that just turned a bunch of lead into gold and just pay this army to do whatever? So you can really create like a nice background story with the wizard general. And then on to core. So we got 2 units of 10 crossbowmen, and I just got these guys because it's always nice to have some ranged firepower. Crossbows are really good. They're range 30, strength 4, so you can really kill some stuff with these guys. Or just thin the ranks to deny people rank bonuses, or just try and get people to run from break tests. Just nice to have some ranged guys. And then for your like main core choices, you got 3 units of 10 duelists, and I really like the duelists. There are no pikemen in this army because I think it's a bit of a too defensive unit, and you need a lot of them to make them work, and then they would just stand there wait to be charged. So I used one with all duelists. So the first unit is going to have pistols, a champion, and a musician. Musician is always good, win ties in combat, and you can rally better. And a champion, I just wanted to have like the main unit of duelists to have a character, so you can just make a cool model. And then they all have pistols because they're weapon skill 4, and they're all skirmishers, so it's going to be really easy to maneuver them and get them charged where you want. Getting that first round of combat with strength 4 arm piercing guys with weapon skill 4, you're going to make a lot of damage going in.
Yeah.
They don't have any armor, so you don't want them left in close combat, and they don't get any rank bonuses because they're skirmishers. But they're just gonna like go in and hit hard in the first turn. That's their goal. And they have no banners because they're mercenaries. They're not really a regiment. The other 2 units of duelists are just like armed with double hand weapons. At first I was gonna give them bucklers, which are shields, giving them a 5-up in close combat. But then I thought like a 5-up probably gonna get ruined because someone has strength 4 or something. So I just thought, might as well just give them more attacks, because their weapon skill 4, so you really want to use that because you're gonna hit a lot of stuff on 3-up. So you just want to get as many attacks in as possible. And then you got 5 heavy cavalry guys, and I thought it would be just really good to have some heavy hitters in your army and some mobility to try and go in from the flanks or something. So these guys have barding and lances and shields and heavy armor. So they've got a 2-up save, and they also have a musician used to rally if they flee and to win breaks, ties in combat. And then on special, we got three ogres. I thought it would be cool with some ogres because it's very special. The Empire guys can have it. They could in earlier editions, but now they can. And ogres are always described as like mercenaries in the old world. And you can see in the ogre range there are the man-eaters, I think, that are former mercenaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they look really cool, and it looks like they've been out fighting. So it's a unit of 3 ogres, and I've armed them with great weapons. So they're strength 6 or 7.
Strength 6.
Yeah, so they can really crunch people. You just go through any armor and just beat them up. And I was thinking like you could, like, if you want to go cheap, you can just go with the regular ogre models, but you could also just get 3 man-eaters. And I suggested the 3 I thought would be really cool to Morten already. So it's the guy in Empire clothes, because you can just easily paint that like the rest of your army. And the pirate.
Love that.
Work really well, and also the bearded lady.
I would think you would say the paymaster ogre. There's a paymaster ogre, and this one, he's a rich fella. He looks like a Dogs of War guy.
He looks like he doesn't need to be a Dog of War.
Yeah, true. But it's always fun to have more money. If you have money, you can buy food.
Yeah, and I suggested this to Morten, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I always wanted that bearded lady ogre, so that's perfect. It's fine." And then the last unit is Paymaster's Bodyguard, 19 of them, and these guys are armed with light armor and halberds, and they have got a banner. So I think like this is the only regiment in the army that's actually like they are a regiment, like a standard unit. So these guys will be walking around the Paymaster, and as long as he's alive, they're stubborn.
Nice.
Yeah, so they're gonna be like the main block of the army. And then you have your 2 heavy hitters, the ogres and the heavy cavalry, which are pretty small. They can hit hard. And then you used to have the 20 crossbowmen. They can just shoot down stuff, long range. 14 enemy come to you. Then you have the wizard, depending on what he has, he can cast some damage spells or boost your heavy hitters. And then you have the 3 units of duelists. They're really mobile. You can sneak them around anywhere, and they always move at the double, so you can just move them anywhere you want. And they're pretty good in close combat as well. So that's the 1,000-point army.
It should do on the battlefield. That's all I say. It would also look really cool. Have you or he thought of where to source the models for this?
Yeah, I suggested just getting some of the old Empire militia. They're not on sale anymore, but you should definitely be able to get them online. Like whenever I think of something that's out of production, and I go like, oh yeah, it's gonna be hard sourcing them. But I mean, I sourced an entire Kislev army, and they went out of production way before that, and even then were pretty rare. So if there's a will, there's a way. You can always find it.
Given that you sourced the limited edition dwarf slayer on a demon head for me, it's possible to probably get everything these days anyway.
Yeah, just
if there's a will, there's a way, like you said, and if your wallet is deep enough, you can always buy anything.
Yeah.
You just join the Oldhammer trading page and just be on the lookout. And
I'm gonna point him towards some of the Perry miniature range. There ought to be something there.
Yeah, there should be. Or
definitely.
Maybe the Song of Ice and Fire models should be in the same scale as well, shouldn't they? They were quite recently released for general sale.
Yeah.
Or
yeah, just want to say with this Dogs of War army as well, it's very dangerous to look at this army list, because saying that, as I said earlier, you can pretty much do anything with this, and that also means I can do anything with this army list.
Yeah, I know.
So
and so can I.
Yeah, it's not like all of us have at least 8 Dogs of War armies going now, right?
I mean, I can feel dwarves in my Skaven army using Dogs of War. This is amazing, and I can use halflings in my Goblin army. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm probably gonna do a small Dogs of War force for my Kislev, just base them around some villagers in Kislev, and just you can come up with anything. I'm also gonna have a wizard, and that's gonna be like an old hag, like a Baba Yaga. It's perfect. And then just the Russian. Jimmy's converting up both the hag for me, also the Paymaster from the old Vostroyan range.
Yeah, the Vostroyan commander.
Yeah, it's gonna look
Yeah.
awesome. Because you were gonna do that for me for my Kisso, but then it's like, yeah, I already have a Boyar model, so it would just be like an extra Boyar. But this is perfect. He would be the perfect Paymaster.
And he's gonna look so rich because he have all his awards, and his armor is like amazingly fine, and his coat, it just says, "Hello, I'm rich."
Yeah, he's just gonna be like the governor of some town, and then
Yeah.
he's just gonna have like the mob following. So
He is actually the guy with the money, so to say. He is the one hiring everyone, but the hag is the frontal person. She will be the one, well, like searing into the future, and we have to do this, we have to do that, and everyone listens to her.
yeah. I'm probably also gonna use the militia range because it's just so versatile.
Yeah.
You just get so many options with it.
Yeah.
And also some ogres. I'll also use some ogres, but then I will use the regular ogres because they look very like Cossacky from the beginning, like Mongols and Cossack. They have like that strip of black hair from the top of their head and big mustaches. So perfect.
I should just mention one other source that says currently on Kickstarter for models that would be perfect for a Dogs of War or an undead Dogs of War army currently, because those are the two main sets released or in the Kickstarter, and that is the Forgotten World Fantasy Figures for War Games and Roleplay by Fireforge Games Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And they got 16 days to go as time of recording, so it should be about 14 days when this episode goes out. So
yeah, they look great. Fireforge look great. Range
Yeah.
look great. They look awesome.
Yeah, they have some medium armored infantry for humans and archers and some nice looking cavalry.
Yeah.
And basically the same for the undeads. Plus a lot of cross pollination of the sprues where you could actually make whatever undead model you want, apparently. Not the other way around. And they have undead peasants, so why not? You can always, if anyone's interested in backing it, it's linked on our Facebook page, I think, or it will be at least, because I think at least more than one of us are actually interested in backing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And the fact that it should arrive at earliest May next year would actually be a boon in this case, because then we can work on some backlog.
All right, that was the Dogs of War. Should we go on to Jimmy's list?
I just have one more question for you, Niklas.
Oh yeah.
Have you thought of an easy way to expand this about 500 points? This list you've written.
Yeah. So I thought I'd do use that 1,000 point list because, first of all, 1,000 points works pretty well in 6th edition. I think you need more if you're gonna play 8th edition for sure. And also 1,000 points is just nice if you're a beginner. So I didn't say like, yeah, buy 300 models and it'll be set. But if you want to expand from this, and of course you can change this list around as much as you want. But if you want to expand, I would get like a cannon as a rare. Always nice to have a cannon. And then you can always throw in regiments of the renown if you find anything that looks really cool, like, or if you find it on some trading page, you can throw in any of those. But if I want to like make this army better, maybe expand the heavy cavalry unit, maybe take another heavy cavalry, maybe take some light cavalry. Maybe I'm just biased towards cavalry.
Cavalry hammer.
Other than that, I would take just like another steady block like the Paymaster's Bodyguard. Just like an infantry block. And that could definitely be a regiment of the renown. Or like some pikemen. The
Pikemen are always cool.
I'm gonna say pikemen. 25 pikemen. That's all you need.
Also, the reason I avoided pikemen is because there are no like, oh yeah, you just get that model. Because the militia work really well for the duels, but
yeah,
there are no real pikemen models unless you go for regiments of renown.
I will show you sometime in the future some good pikemen models.
Right.
Because the Empire army that we have in our gaming place instead of spears, they equip them with pikes, but
Mm,
we play them as spearmen. And I'm gonna take some photos of those guys later on.
right. Yeah. Also, like if you want to do a Tenerian army, you could base them around the Empire list as well. But I just think that the Dogs of War army has more character, and you can just do a bit more what you want. All right, on to goblins.
Yes, I'm not gonna go through so many unit choices. I'm gonna mention some of these Night Goblin unit choices, as my list is based mostly on Night Goblins. And Night Goblins, they have Night Goblins, lords and heroes, like a warlord or a great shaman. They're not so great fighters, but the shaman is a good magic user. And then we have the hero versions, the big boss and the ordinary shaman. And like all armies, except Dogs of War, the hero versions of a hero can be a battle standard bearer. So which is a common sight in goblin armies because they're prone to panic and run from fights. So they need this bonus. And then they have the ordinary night goblins, which can be equipped with hand weapon shield, short bows, or spear and shield. They can also have a upgrade with his netters, which is like something I will go with everyone in the goblin episode.
Really annoying.
Yeah, they are really annoying. Then goblins can upgrade things with fanatics, which is high damage. Well, not high damage output. Well, high strength damage output attacks on enemies. Well, it's like D6 strength 5 or 6 attacks with no armor saves. And they go through units, so they can slingshot through several units if they go far enough. Then they have squigs, which, well, these squigs are the main fighters in a Night Goblin army, because squigs have weapon skill 4, strength 4, and 2 attacks each. So
Ooh.
they're good, great fighters. The leadership is not so good, yeah. And they need handlers, so herders is a must. So which is normal Night Goblins with like symbols or instruments or squig prodders, so they can keep the squigs in check. Then there are some brave goblins who ride squigs, which are squig hoppers, which have the same stat lines as a normal squig, but if they are loose squigs, they move randomly around normally. But squig hoppers can choose the direction they move in. Yeah,
Yeah, lots of randomness with goblins.
yeah, lovely. Well, the list that I made is 1,000 points, and my thumb rule when making a goblin list is for each 10 points in a list, I need at least one goblin. So 1,000 points needs 100 goblins.
Minimum.
Yeah, minimum. And this list is the Red Scabs Boys, which is led by the young Gitfimpa, which is my war boss. But this is the big boss version of him. So this is basically a Night Goblin big boss with light armor, a shield, a talisman of protection because Mork watches over him. So we have a 6-up invulnerable, 6-up word save. That's it. And he have the madcap mushrooms, which he gives to fanatics in his unit. So instead of D6 hits, they make 2 D6 hits when they are released. And he's kind of cheap too. He's 79 points, so
That's good.
yeah, leadership 6, yeah. And with him, he have his trusty advisor shaman, which is his name is Birgit the Shroomplucker. And he's a Night Goblin level 1 shaman. No upgrades or anything. It's just a barebone shaman. And as goblins are prone to flee, we need a battle standard bearer. So we have another Night Goblin big boss with a battle standard bearer and the Bad Moon Banner, which gives the unit stubborn. So hopefully we won't flee, and we will have the battle standard rule, and this guy is named Osgat the Banavava.
Yeah,
So he
that's
waves
good.
his banner.
It's gonna say in 6th edition as well, you only reroll break tests from combat, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
in 8th edition, you can reroll any leadership
Yeah,
test. Into
yeah.
it.
And normally, if you make an Orcs and Goblins army list and your list only contain Goblin heroes, you can have an extra Night Goblin or Common Goblin Big Boss for each 1,000 points you play. And I didn't use this one on this list, as Night Goblin Big Bosses are kind of expensive. It's 30 points. I mean, 30 points. That's like 15 Night Goblins. It's way too expensive.
Or they are too cheap.
Nah, it's too expensive. Anyhow, the 100 goblins are made out of 3 units. It's 2 units of 35 night goblins with spear and full command, and a unit of 30 night goblins with short bows and a musician. In these 3 units, I will hide a total of 6 fanatics. I will not tell you in which one goes where. So somewhere in these 3 units, they will hide a total of 6 fanatics, and a unit can have up to 3 fanatics.
Do you write that in your army list or before the battle?
When you make the list, you need to specify where they go. And in this case, I would have 2 in each.
Okay.
Otherwise, it would probably be a bit cheating. Just say,
Yeah.
"Oh, they're in that unit."
Yeah.
All of the time when anyone's near.
Yeah. Sometimes maybe I want to have 3 in 1, 2 in 1, and 1 in the short bow unit. And now on to the next unit, which will be a unit of squigs, along with squig herders and squig hoppers. There will be 8 herders, 9 squigs, and 3 squig hoppers. I expect these guys to flee, so the squigs will jump around aimlessly and attack anything they come in contact with, and that I can move around the 3 squig hoppers and wreak havoc in enemy units. As squig hoppers, once they come in contact with an enemy unit, they do their attacks, and the enemy don't get to fight back, and they bounce on. So as long as I bounce good enough, I can bounce between 2 units and attack them over and over again. But once I roll a double, the squig eats up the rider, and it will act as a normal squig. Normal squigs do the same thing, except they always move randomly, so you move a scatter die. And if you roll a double on normal squigs, they get so excited they explode.
So good. But so squigs, how do they work? Like this unit, so you have 8 herders.
Yeah, 8 herders, and they have to move. They have to stand behind the squigs and squig hoppers.
So what if this unit flee?
Then the herders will flee, and the squigs will bounce off everywhere.
So can they bounce into each other and do damage?
They can.
So what if the herders rally? Can they like join the unit again, or how does it work?
No. Then the herders are just normal night goblins.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And finally, I have a Goblin Doom Diver, which I'm using the Forge World Squig Gobba for. So instead of a big slingshot shooting goblins with wings, they spit squigs. And the Doom Diver is D6 Strength 5, no armor save hits on any unit.
Is it?
So
Yeah.
It's like a rock lobber, a stone.
Yeah, but without a template, right? It's just like
exactly.
1 point.
It's a 1 point, and you can alternate the. I think you can move it D3 or 3 inches from where it lands, so you have some adjustments.
Nice.
So the list in whole is quite a semi-defensive list, as well, none of them are good fighters. I hope that my squigs can fight something before they break, as they will be at least 6 or, well, I think I will field them 6 wide and have the herders behind them. There will be a total of 3, maybe 4 ranks.
All right.
Yeah.
I honestly expected more units.
Yeah. It's 1,000 points. The thing here is that squigs and squig hoppers and so on, they are kind of expensive.
Yeah, and figure.
Yeah.
But like if they do good, then they can do a lot of damage.
Oh yeah.
If you so what's the plan? You would like have
My
them in the
plan is
middle,
to,
flank with the spearmen?
either in the middle or on the refused flank side if I go for a refused flank. So they will be as far away from my guys as possible, but as close to the enemy as possible, so that when they break, they will be in the way for the end. So they will be between the enemy and my guys.
Yeah.
And I don't hope to win many combats with these lists. This is why I have the fanatics, so I can, well, make the enemy stop before they charge me. As when a fanatic is released, the enemy gets to choose if they want to continue their movement or continue their charge or halt. And if my fanatic just stands in front of my unit, they maybe they just don't want to charge me because they don't want the extra hits they get from standing on a fanatic.
Yeah.
And there won't be so much heavy magic using in the list. I mean, a level 1 goblin shaman, it's something. It's mostly there for the fun of it. He can eat mushrooms.
Can the squig unit march?
Yes, they can.
Right. So they will probably use run forward.
I will most likely throw them as far as I can towards my enemy.
And then the night goblins just stand and cower.
They will move up towards the enemy because I want to release my fanatics as soon as possible.
Oh, that's true.
I want the fanatics on, well, let's say between my deployment zone and the enemies.
And the goblins, they have bows or short bows?
Short bows, so
18 inches.
Yeah. I think it's 16 in 6th edition.
Oh, even less.
Even shorter. Yeah.
All right. I was thinking like how my cavalry would attack this list.
Probably spinny death.
Yeah.
I would probably stand and shoot you with my bows.
Yeah.
You take morale checks.
Yeah.
And flee.
Yeah. Don't get too close.
And as goblins are poor shots, my goblin doom diver or squiggoba will misfire and break, as per usual.
But it's using that squig spitter thing for the doom diver makes the army theme a lot cooler, actually.
Yeah, it does. As the bad thing is night goblins don't have any kind of war machine other than the squiggoba in 8th edition. But I think it's a good countess unit for doom diver.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It launches shit at the enemy.
Yeah. Yes. A big squig spitting little squigs. Fierce ones.
It's a really cool theme. It's a really cool list.
Yeah.
So, do you have any thoughts on making this army larger or expanded?
Well, I would definitely get 2 more units of night goblins and field more fanatics as a start. So that would probably eat up 300 to 400 points. And if I would go for a 500 point list, I would also add another big boss just for the leadership boost for one of those units. And if I went for a 2000 points list, I would either throw in a unit of trolls, stone trolls to be precise, because they are the most thematic trolls to use along with night goblins, or a giant. I have this really cool marauder giant from, I think it's 4th edition Warhammer Fantasy or 3rd. Yeah. I'm gonna field along with them, and it looks really nice, and I can't wait to paint it up. So the small guys need some big guys eventually. So a bunch of trolls or a giant will be a great thing to add.
I always thought that was the cool thing about Orcs and Goblins. You have so many options in the playbook.
This
Yes.
army book have the most options in any book. I think just in the Lords section, you have like 3, 6, 9 Lord choices, and as many hero choices. Because you have like Black Orc Big Boss, Orc Big Boss, Savage Orc Big Boss, Orc Shaman, Savage Orc Shaman, Goblin Big Boss, Night Goblin Big Boss, Goblin Shaman, and Night Goblin Shaman. And then you have the Lord variety of these guys too.
And just also use the size range of the army from
Oh, yeah.
snotling to snotling, like swarms of them, to snotling pump wagons to
Yeah.
giants,
Yeah,
dragons, trolls. They have everything.
they have pretty much everything. And this is why I also love this army. You can build pretty much any kind of theme around your army. You can have like a big, well, clan with every unit. You can field Savage Orcs along with Snotlings, alongside Common Goblins, alongside Forest Goblins. And you can have Black Orcs in the midst.
And if you really want it, you could add in one or more of those kinds of special goblins that's in the annual or the chronicles.
Yeah, like undead goblins with blowpipes.
Or fire goblins that are used to live in lava, so they're immune to fire and nothing else.
And
That's all.
Spitfire.
Yeah. I really love how they made all of that.
Yeah, it's an amazing army book.
Yeah, classic. It's classic.
Yeah,
like Middle Hammer.
Yeah. So basically, for me, boys before toys. Though, I need numbers.
How about some rugged armored orcs?
Oh, I would love those. I think I have some up in the attic. I was gonna make them into big guns to make them stand out more.
Oh no. At least these days it would be, oh no, don't.
Yeah, I think there's at least 20 of them up in the attic, but I just need to find that one box though.
Yeah, and hope they still have the crossbows, right?
Yeah, the crossbows are somewhere there too, but they might be in a different box.
But they would be a really nice extension for a future project, I think.
Yeah.
For you. So, I guess I'm next. So that was a really nice discussion about a greenskin army. But sadly, Jimmy had to leave us, and we might record this a day later or so, but you never know, because editing. Ooh.
The magic of editing.
Yeah, we got one more list to go through today, and this is actually my list, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, I heard it before we recorded this. It's cool. It's really cool, like, with all the diversity between our armies. They're very different.
Yeah, and it also shows that we have so far had a quite human-centric army with the Dogs of War, and it's quite a general army, all of it. It's nothing that really seems special in some way, even though it's a Dogs of War army, so everything can be special.
It's humans are always like the basic standpoint in this universe, I guess. But I mean, if you want to go all the way basic, then you would look at the Empire. So the Empire is like the basic thing, what you would expect from an army. Everyone has like human stats. Dogs of War are also humans, but they're still a bit different in the way they fight. Lots of skirmishers, lots of weird equipment and ogres and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the Night Goblin list we heard, like, it was yesterday, so I've been thinking like this 24 hours straight, just how would I defeat this army? And like, there's no sound strategy against the Night Goblins because it's just also random. Like, I downloaded the book and just read through the rules. They can either be like super devastating or they just randomly run off the table at any point.
Behind the scenes here, Niklas have been talking all day on how he would be able to survive fanatics with his horse archers and lancers.
Yeah, they're scary, really scary. So I don't know if we went through the rules with them, but like, they pop out when you're 8 inches away, and then you just go straight through forward, and you just destroy you. like D6 strength 5 hits with no armor saves. Devastating.
And fun.
Yeah, my riders, they're even though they're mounted, they're still toughness 3. So you just kill them outright and 2 up with D6 hits. It's crazy.
Yeah, and after that, you have all of the squigs. In this case,
Yeah.
almost literally all of the squigs, which is just lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just gonna have to play Jimmy to actually try out some tactics. But I mean, in the end, I don't think there are any tactics against goblins used. Maybe you should just stand there and just hope for the best.
Really, if you were to bring the Tsarina, you could maybe tease them out and then block them with an ice wall. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe that could work. But then again, yeah, the fanatics could break the ice wall.
Yeah, but they don't last forever.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun playing against Jimmy. We got some games planned in for Christmas time. I'll be going back to Sweden in the same area where he lives, so it's gonna be a lot of fun playing as some night goblins then.
Yeah, I think we all may have planned some kind of trip up to where Jimmy lives at that point. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So should we go through your Dark Elf list?
You mean speaking of things hiding in units? Yeah, we could. And this list is a 1,000-point list, and it's almost particularly based on things I have painted and things that I'm currently painting and really want to paint. So it's a good start. It's probably not the ultimate list, but it is themed around the Raider list that's in the back of the Dark Elf book for a special scenario. They're basically having Corsairs as a theme. But it is not that list because, well, for once, it's limited to that scenario or a campaign containing that scenario. And secondly, it's quite limiting for an army that has all of the nice units to only be able to take 5 of the nice units.
Yeah, a lot of those lists are in the back of army books that like require the opponent's permission. Like a lot of them are just okay, you want this team, so you can only take 5 units. It was like the same with Night Goblins when I looked at that list. Like, yeah, you can only take Night Goblin characters, you can only take Night Goblins, and then the only like benefit you get is that you can take trolls as special instead of rare. It's like this tiny bonus to only be able to take like 5 units out of 30 in the book. It's crazy.
And in the case of the Dark Elf rating list, it's basically, yeah, we just moved the bolt throwers from rare to special slot.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I
No
think,
other
like,
benefits.
The only thing, like the only one I can think of that's just like really good is the known artillery train.
Or maybe some of the dwarfs from the 6th edition.
Yeah, the Slayer
proper
one
book.
is cool. I don't know how good it would be, but it's definitely cool.
Yeah, but they also have the Guild Expedition one that brings most of the artillery to core units.
All right. Stand corrected then. But a lot of those are just like very themey, very cool, but you might as well just run the regular army list and maybe take some other stuff if you want to.
Which is pretty much what I'm doing here, because it's going to have the feel and theme of the raiding force, but not be limited by the raiding force.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start off with my hero choices, and that's going to have a noble with a sea dragon cloak and heavy armor, and it's going to have an additional hand weapon, and just to spice it up a bit, it's going to have the Blade of Spite, and this is a magic weapon that's in the Storm of Chaos book, and it basically auto wounds on a 5 and 6, I think it is.
Cool. What's the Sea Dragon cloak?
It's it's in close combat it's +1, and at range it's +2, I think.
That's awesome. So it's kind of like just in full plate in close combat and full plate and shield.
Yeah.
Against shooting.
He's the captain of the raiding party, so he should have fancier armor, I think. Plus, the
Nice.
Sea Dragon Cloak makes him better and makes him look the part when it comes to just being in a force full of Corsairs, I think.
Nice. How many points is he?
He's 109.
That's not bad at all.
He was a lot more before I tooled down this list for 1,000 points. There's also a version of him riding a chariot, so that's a lot more expensive. So, my second hero choice is just a bare bones assassin. He's got no upgrades or anything. Because when you're playing 1,000 points, you really have to prioritize. It's still a weapon skill 9 and several attacks. And just, well, I'm going to hide in this unit and you got too close, and then I'm just going to jump around and stab you in the eye. So,
yeah, I think assassins, they're still very good without any upgrades.
Yeah, and with upgrades, you can make them ridiculous, but they are really easy to kill, given that they have no armor.
Yeah.
My first core unit is a solid block of 15 Corsairs with full command. And this is backed up with a second unit of Corsairs, but 14 strong. This is where the Noble goes, and it's also with full command.
Right. So what are these guys armed with?
They have 2 hand weapons, light armor, and Sea Dragon cloaks.
Awesome. So kind of got heavy armor in close combat and like heavy armor and shield against shooting. 4 of 8. It's really nice.
And not having the side effect of having to carry the shield as well. So,
yeah.
Plus, these are all the 6th edition models, so they will look really, really cool on the table.
Nice. So are they, what's their weapon skill? Weapon skill 4, I presume.
Yeah, they are. And
going to do a lot of damage.
They do. So
I assume you're going to walk around with these like ranks of 5, like 3 ranks?
Yeah, they will be ranked at 5. That's why the second unit is only 14 members. So they rank up properly. They could have been 16 as well, but then with the Noble, that is. But I might have needed about 10 points for the Assassin in the end. And the Assassin will be in one of the infantry units, because there's no reason to have him running around without armor on his own.
Yeah.
And to back these up, there's a block of 6 Dark Riders with crossbows, or repeated crossbows, no command or anything. They are just going to ride around in a long line and just torment people with crossbow arrows.
No champion in that unit.
No.
Doesn't he have ability skill 5? I thought that would be really good for these guys.
Yeah, he has, but I really needed to save in some points, because in a 1,500 point list, those are the upgrades that will be there.
Yeah.
And these, I'm going to treat these as just a flanking unit, so hopefully they will still be.
You could always take away the champions from the Corsair units, stick it in there. But I mean, this is also these trial lists, so I think like all of our lists will change a lot when we actually put them on the table.
Yeah. I must say that I've used Dark Riders a lot of the times, and I've never really had a use for a champion, but if there's points, I might try it out. Yeah. And then I have a unit of 5 shades with a blood shade, which is the unit champion. And there will be, because I figured that in a raiding army, there really should be some scouting elements. And that's the Dark Riders, and that's the shades.
Yeah, they're really cool units. So the Dark Riders also, they're fast cav. They have the repeater crossbows and spears and light armor, right?
And the shades have no armor unless you equip them with extra armor, but they don't have armor in this case, so they will be really easy to kill.
Yeah, they're skirmishers though. So
yeah, they're both scouts and skirmishers.
Do they have any other bonus to their sneakiness, or it's just right?
No. They have no magic or anything like that to make them more sneaky.
Easy to hide him behind terrain in 6th edition, no, since it blocks line of sight.
Yeah.
Or just keep them behind another unit or something.
Yeah, and it's always nice to have those repeating crossbows to just sneak up and fire at units when they start to, well, both when they are approaching and when they're getting really close, or maybe just whittling them down, I think.
Yeah. Just removing ranks or
Yeah.
making stuff break or shooting at war machines. I think it's easier to kill war machines in this edition as well, since the hits are randomized and you can actually hit the crews instead of just hitting the machine at toughness 7.
Yeah, they just don't. In this edition, they just don't dive behind the cannon or stone thrower and just hide.
Yeah.
And to top it off, there's this little unit of 2 Reaper bolt throwers.
Yeah, this is scary.
They will be situational.
Can you choose fire mode on these, like the high elves?
Yeah, the Reaper bolt thrower is a war machine, and all the rules governing war machines apply. Either shoot a single bolt, or they may fire multiple shots. So the single bolt is as per the standard bolt thrower from the main rulebook. And if using the multiple shots option, then the Reaper bolt thrower shoots 6 bolts in each shooting phase. These shots are worked out exactly like the shots from bows or crossbows, using the ballistic skill of the crew to determine whether the bolts hit or not. All bolts must be directed towards a single target. Multiple shots have a range of 48, a strength of 4, with armor save suffering a -2 penalty.
That's harsh. So -3 in total, right?
And how much does that matter if I were to fire at your guys?
-3, like on my Lancers, it will be 6 up save then.
Yeah, and all of the others that don't have any armor.
Yeah, it'll just die.
Yeah.
So the regular bolt is strength 6 and not 7, as I thought. Also range 48, and then is -1 strength per rank. But then the bolt can also be stopped. Like if you don't kill the first guy, then it just stops.
Yeah.
No armor saves allowed on this one. So
that's basically when you see in the movies when someone blocks a giant bolt with their shield and just keeps on running. Maybe just rake off the shield with their swords, just clear off all of the arrows and just, yeah.
I had such a good moment with this when I was playing Bretonia back in the day. And I had just my block of knights charging forward. An elf bolt shot him, killed the first guy, killed the second guy, killed the third guy. Like, oh fuck! Oh wait, I forgot I had Blessing of the Lady, and then I rolled on the first guy a 6, and he stopped the bolt in his track. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really scared about those bolt throwers because they deal a lot of damage. It's like 12 bolts. What was the strength? Strength 4, right?
Yeah.
And range 48. That's insane. He has to shoot all over the board.
Yeah, but imagine this: there are still a bit. You still have to hit those big, and having you like a sorceress or something could actually potentially be a lot worse.
Yeah.
If nothing for the theme, because that's the main reason there's Reaper Bolters. There is the ship will probably arrive and set to plunder a little village or something. And what are the ship armed with? Giant bolt throwers. So.
Yeah, they're really cool. They're a very iconic unit for the Dark House. Yeah, I really like your force. It's symmetrical, and I got OCD while I'm building armyless, so I always have to have symmetrical armies. If I put them in front of me, I have to like put 2 units next to each other, and then next to those guys, they have 2 matching units, which you have like the 2 crosshair units in the middle, and you have like 2 mobile units with repeater bolt throwers, crossbows, repeating crossbows, and then you have the 2 bolt throwers. It's perfect.
And the best part is that I own all the models as well, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, great. So what of this have you got painted already?
The Corsairs are painted, the Dark Riders are painted, and the Shades are painted.
Great. It's just the bolt throwers and characters left then.
Yeah, and I think I have like 4 painted assassins as well, because I might have bought one of each when they were released back in 6th edition.
Nice. Yeah, it's a really cool army. You got a solid core. Like you would think that elves are not very durable, but those sea dragon folks are really good against shooting, and they're really fast. They got movement 5, so you can march across the board very easily, get them to where they need to be. And then you have the 2 like harassing units that kind of forces the enemy to tackle them instead of your main guys. And then you have the freaking repeating bolt throwers that would just devastate units. And of course the assassin. Can assassin go with the shades as well?
Any assassin in your army may start the game hidden in one of the following units, because that's a nice little printed and glued in square here now. Witch elves, warriors, corsairs, executioners, or blackguard. Or he may deploy as a scout, but deploying him as a scout, as we said, he would probably get killed off just walking around.
So only in blocks, pretty much.
Yeah, but that makes sense given that he's hiding as one of many.
Yeah, definitely.
And then
yeah, really cool.
Mm.
It would also be a really cool army to play.
Yeah, and it's not overly hard to upgrade if you want to make it larger either, just adding units or changing out the characters and stuff like that.
Yeah. So what would you add personally? Like, what do you think you're missing that you think you should add to the army?
Well, maybe it's either like line units like spearmen or crossbowmen, or maybe executioners, because I really like the executioners.
Yeah, they're really cool models.
Yeah. They have a tendency to lose their weapons, though, in the 6th ed metal sculpts. And maybe just add like a mount of some kind for the noble. Maybe a cold one chariot or something like that, even though it's stupid. Literally stupid. It's still a really nice model, and when it works really well.
Yeah, really cool.
And it can carry repeating crossbows if you really want to shoot something extra.
Yeah, Dark Elves have a lot of versatility in their army, so can have cool monsters as well. Cool One Knights are really nice.
Mm-hmm. Maybe if I could just get my hands on one of them, maybe have a Hydra as well. Because in the 2002 annual, I think it is, that one, they have the upgrade rules for all of the Hydras. So you can even theme the Hydra if you want to.
Nice. Yeah. It'd be cool with some sea monster if you're going to visit around coursers.
Yeah, exactly. And the Hydra will know what happens if it doesn't perform well, given that all of them are wearing cloaks made of sea monsters.
Yeah.
Oh, well, should we just move on and round this one up then?
Yeah. So there have been some good discussions about army lists. I really like talking about army lists because you just imagine your forces fighting it out and like, what would you do against that unit? How would I deploy my units? Very nice. And also just to see the diversity in the different armies. Because even if you guys are talking about your armies and then you see like one painted unit or something, but when you talk about the entire army, you really see how different they are and how they're going to work on the battlefield.
And as we've said, I think all of these, even since we haven't had Jens or Krell on this, but we're gonna try to get them to record their list as well. All of these armies are just the starting point, because, well, at least Niklas got plans on how he's gonna expand it up to 2K, and I think we all of us are working on that at least.
Yeah, can only go forwards with your army. And 1,000 point, people might think that 1,000 points is a bit low, but we've been talking about it. I think 1,000 points, we used to play that back when we played 6th edition, and You seem
Yep.
to play that. It seems like you can get like a lot of good games from this because you had like 7 units in your army, and I think
Yeah,
or 6 if you're kind of repeating both versus 1.
yeah, they are one rare choice because there's only one rare choice allowed.
Yeah, and I have also 6 units in my army and a character. I think you can get a really good game out of that. But of course, bigger battles are always cooler. But I also kind of like the small scale games. Like the event that I'm going to is going to be 1500, and that's not
Yeah,
that much more. I'm going to add for my Kislev guys. I'm just going to add like 3 units. So
yeah,
I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play Thousands as well.
yeah. And I know that I could add like a unit of spearmen, a sorceress, and a cold one chariot, and I'm up to 1500 points basically.
Yeah. But in the end, I bet we're all going to play like 5,000 points now. But like we will. It doesn't really matter what you think you're going to build your army. You just keep expanding it. So yeah, as you said, I got enough stuff for 2,000, and probably I'm gonna do more than that. Maybe with the Darks of War stuff that I'm building as well, combine those two. Never know. But 1,000 points is a nice starting point, especially in 6th edition, because it feels like you can get a good game out of it. In 8th edition, like with my Chaos Wars, I didn't even think of building 1,000 points because I don't really think you get like the best experience out of that edition with only 1,000 points. I think like the game starts getting good at 2,000 points and more. So for those guys, I've been building towards 2,000 points. But then again, it's the troops cost less, but then you get more characters to fill. All right, yeah, that's it for the army list, I would say.
We're just gonna move into some nice shout outs and tell you what's in the next episode.
Yeah, so shout outs. I posted a picture of my Kislev today. Just want to say thank you for all the kind words I've received. It's been really nice. Keeps me motivated to paint up the next unit. And we got some people writing to us regarding our latest episode. Shout out to people who should write to us and if they have any blogs or anything. So this guy wrote to us. One of our biggest fan, I think. I don't really know how to pronounce his name. That's like the worst part.
Yeah, that's always a hard thing. But on the other hand, if you pronounce it wrong, he can correct us and we will sort it from there.
Yeah. So like we all agreed we should just pronounce it as Swedes. Renea.
Well, it is correct in our language.
Exactly. So he wrote in. He's been writing in before. This is great. It's really nice to make this podcast and having people write in and saying how much they like it. And he wrote it in and shared his blog. So we can share that on our page when we release this episode.
Yeah,
but if
it might even be in the show notes when you listen to this. So
Yeah.
just check show notes.
But if we forget, it's www.imrillion.com, I think.
Yep.
So go in there and check out his blog. I don't really go much into blogs usually because I think I have just most of my hobby feed on Instagram. So you should follow us on Instagram as well because that's where we post all of our hobby progress because it's just easier.
Yeah, but if you're doing like hobby write-ups and tutorials and stuff, I still think a blog is the best forum for it.
This is true because he can put pages on there and write a lot of stuff, and that's nice. That's like the problem with Instagram; you can't really write stuff. That's the same when Jimmy posted his battle report, and I was thinking, well, can we post this on Instagram? Can't really, because you can't really accompany the pictures with images as easily as on Facebook as well.
I just have to basically do a batch post with text underneath that no one will read, and which is really hard to format because you have to write it with your phone keyboard, basically.
So check out imrillion.com. Check out his blog. He's doing a lot of fantasy stuff. He's posting on the Facebook page as well, the Warhammer Fantasy Battles.
Our next episode will be a green screen focus episode, and it will follow the Kislev focus in format.
Yeah. If Jimmy follows my format, then just incoherent ramblings.
Yeah, and talk about 16th century Poland and Hungary and Ukraine. The episode after that will be another book club, and then that's Gracier. We're also going to do a hobby episode at one, and we would like you to write questions into us, ask about general hobby advice, if there's a specific hobby advice, or Warhammer Fantasy hobby advice, just whatever you want.
Yeah, maybe you have like some specific questions. We had someone write in, been painting a lot of power armor, and he was just asking how we transferred our techniques from painting future stuff to painting fantasy stuff. And it is a big difference because there's a lot more like organic materials and it's just painted differently, use different colors.
Yeah.
So any questions you have regarding just painting fantasy stuff or
Yeah.
just modeling, building terrain or
Basing techniques are one, if you have any question about basing techniques, because we have all made a lot of round bases lately, in the podcast at least, and going over to the square bases have been a bit of an adjustment.
Yeah. If you have any basing questions, just ask Christopher here because he's the basing god. Check out his blog as well on Instagram. You do a lot of bases.
Yeah, usually I do a lot of bases and halfway finish a miniature.
I've been doing a lot of snow bases now as well. So if you have any questions how I did those, then you can write in, or I'll just tell it. I think I'm just gonna tell it anyway.
If, as we say, write in if you have any questions, because we will be delighted to answer them.
And if you have any other questions that are not hobby related, then feel free to send in those as well. Just write us on our Facebook page and we'll reply or we'll shout it out on the episode.
Or if you feel like it, we also have the email and you can send a message on Instagram as well.
All right. I think that covers this episode.
Let's see you all in the next episode.
Goodbye.
Time have ended, and the realm of elf, dwarf, and man shattered. But in our hearts, the old world lives.